I really hate not having new growth because my forehead looks huge. But anywho, I feel like this conversation is like low key redundant, and you have like I feel like as a society we have, especially obviously as a black community, we have this conversation over and over and over again. And basically, what I'm talking about is colorism. Like I feel like every time I go on Twitter, it's a debate, like the same debate about colorism, what it is, who's affected, and I don't understand what's not clicking for people to like understand it. Like it's literally in the definition that it affects darker skinned people. Like, but even without the definition, like if you're looking at like history, like obviously, if you're looking at history, obviously darker skinned people are obviously treated. Even if you're looking at like I feel like present time, they're obviously treated differently. Like not just when it comes to dating or people's preferences, but also when it comes to jobs, when it comes to police profiling, when it comes to jail sentences, like they're getting, they're not having the same advantages because of them being darker skinned. And I feel like anybody could see that or know that. Like same as like if you add like other stuff on top of that, like being bigger and darker skin, or being gay and big, like and being darker skin, or being disabled and being darker skin, or even having locks and like tattoos and being darker skin, like you're getting a totally different experience than somebody who's lighter skin with the same exact things as you. And I feel like it's weird that I feel like we have to like keep explaining it, and like people not getting it when it's like it's really easy to comprehend. And like you have lighter skinned people saying like, oh, I experienced colorism, I was bullied, they didn't like me growing up, like darker skinned people didn't like me growing up, like all this other shit. And it's like it wasn't because, it wasn't strictly because like you were a lighter complexion. Like that's not why they didn't like you. Like you're not experiencing colorism directly, you're experiencing it, like the effects of it. Like they're not treating you different necessarily just because you're light skinned. They're see, like if people are bullying you as young kids, it's like they're seeing that you're getting special treatment or treated differently by other peers because you're lighter skinned. That's what they're mad at. They're not mad at just because you're lighter skinned. Like they're mad at the fact that they're experiencing colorism. They just don't know what it is, like, or why that is. Even like people, I feel like even like parents who have like a lighter skinned child, darker skinned child, they experience, that darker skinned child is experiencing a different experience than you. But even though y'all are like raised by the same parent, like I feel like I didn't have like a totally different experience, because obviously I'm like the darkest out of my siblings. But I don't think it was like a total different experience. But I will say like it's certain stuff that I'm like, I feel like I didn't have like a totally different experience in the household, I guess, but I feel like I definitely was treated different, like obviously outside of the household. Like it wasn't abnormal because obviously my mom is light skinned. It wasn't abnormal for like my sisters and whatever to be like near my mom, or that to be their child. Whereas me, it's like they're questioning if I'm gonna turn around because they're mowing their lines, so I'm not even about to deal with that. It's like me though, it's like obviously I'm more of like a question mark, like, or people not understanding that you can be black and have different shades in the household. But anywho, but yeah, I've had like a different experience like that. And I mean, I've had little comments here and there from like people like in school, but I wasn't like bullied for being darker toned, which I guess I'm appreciative of that. So it was like a certain way that I wasn't affected by colorism, I guess, that other people were, that I can't relate to. But I knew it was there though. Like I seen other people go through that, like more, I guess you can say. But so it definitely was like, but even in, back to my point, like even in like a household, colorism could look, I feel like, different. Where it's like this person has a different experience than you, or getting treated different than you, because even in the household by the same parent, because they're darker tone. Like it's been plenty of cases where parents do that, like where they make you feel different because you're darker skin. I feel like it's just so much noise and it's like low-key irritating me. Because it was not this much noise like 10 seconds ago. But anyways, my point is it's different. And I feel like, to me, if you don't think it's different, it's like you're not looking, or you don't want to look to what the fuck is like actually going on. So that also could be the case, I guess. But I'm like, it's definitely a different, it's like so funny. I'm like irritated because it's like so much noise that just went by that was not here before. Like I've been walking around for like an hour almost, like, and it was not this. But anyways, but yeah, I see a lot of people talking about, oh, I experienced colorism. It's like, no, you experienced bullying. Like, it's just like racism. It's not no reverse, because systematically you have more power. Like, or you have more of a privilege systematically. So it's like you're not really getting affected by, ooh, something's in my eye. You're not really getting, this is like a terrible video, low-key. Like, because everything is just like happening like now as soon as I like was talking and recording. But it's probably still getting posted because I'm not about to redo it. Because this is my second time starting over. But it's like systematically you're not experiencing that same oppression. Like, yes, you're black, and yes, you experience racism, and you probably got bullied maybe, but that's not colorism. Like, you know, so I don't understand why people, it's not clicking for people, and like why people want to experience racism so bad. It's just like white people, like poor white people, like they want to experience like being oppressed or something. And it's like, no, you were poor, but you still have a privilege because you're white. Or just like men, like when men, I feel like when black men try to have like the same struggle as like black women, and it's like, yeah, you experience racism and discrimination, but you don't experience sexism. For like, you still have a privilege as a man. And they would tell you, they would die on this hill and say they don't have a privilege because they're a black man in America. It's like, yeah, but you're still a man. In a patriarchal system, like, you have a privilege, you have advantages, and they don't see it like that. So it's like, I don't know, everything is like connected. It's like the same argument but different conditions, I feel like, and different groups that I'm like, they all, like, I feel like they can be explained the same exact way, but just using different people or different groups to explain it. But yeah, I feel like we definitely need to wrap up this colorism conversation, because it's like, if it's not clicking by now in 2024, like that you, or that colorism exists, or in that as lighter people you're not experiencing colorism, we're cooked. I don't know what to say. We're done. Like, because it's like, what is hard to grasp? I don't know. And also, side note, like, colorism isn't just dating preferences, because I feel like a lot of people try to be like, oh, that's just my preference, da-da-da. Y'all complain about people that don't want y'all, da-da. That's not just what colorism is. And I feel like people try to like minimize the real effects of colorism and like what it is, so they can ignore it. Like, it's not just about men not liking me or women not liking me. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that type of way, like romantically. It's like, no, y'all see it and y'all know it's there, but y'all try to avoid it so y'all don't have to like change it, and y'all can still be ignorant. That's literally it. That's why we had the same conversations recycle over and over again. But anyways, yeah, I feel like the conversation needs to be cut. That's all I gotta say.